Five. Yeah!
Yay!
I like being excited whenever it starts. I feel like it's a good way to start
I think that's a great way
a
to
very
start.
serious meeting about how Harry Potter relates to our world.
Yes.
So, chapters, what are we on, 8 and 9?
Yep.
I know.
Potions Master and the Midnight Duel.
AKA, Harry does not like Slytherins at all.
Yep.
Oh, oops, I have the other thing. Oh, I had the YouTube page open and it just started talking and I was like, did somebody else join? And then I realized it was my own voice that I heard. Because there's a slight lag, so it just started. Um, yeah, but now it's not making sounds. Whew, okay, that was a scary moment. Anyway, um, chapter 8 of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's or Sorcerer's Stone. Why does this say that? That has to be wrong.
It's definitely chapter 8.
Did I? Oh, look at March. Sorry, I just saw a thing and I confused myself. Okay, chapter 8. Yes, the Potions Master. So, I will let you start if you have a certain topic from this that you were
I'll
excited.
let you start.
Okay. Um, so I guess the first thing in my notes was about gender bias because when I was reading the scene with the first potions lesson, the one thing I got was that like Snape completely ignored any female students, so Hermione.
Yeah.
She's the only
And
one
no other
mentioned.
female students are even mentioned in this
Yeah,
chapter.
and then when Harry suggested like, oh, you could ask Hermione because she seems to know, Snape's just like, well, she should stop knowing things, and also I'm docking points from you for
For being Harry Potter.
suggesting that. Yeah, and then also in the lesson, Snape's praising Malfoy, and Hermione's doing well too, if I remember correctly. I don't know
Yeah.
what it says about what Hermione does, but he's praising Malfoy the whole time, and he's just paying attention to the boys, and he's completely ignoring non-male students like
Yeah.
Hermione.
He's
Um,
only criticizing and complimenting the guys.
yeah,
Read that like this is a definite thing in classrooms that when teachers are watched that they tend to pick male students significantly more often and are much less likely to interrupt them than female students, and that even when they're made aware of the fact that they're doing so and try to correct it, they still end up preferentially picking and complimenting male students.
yeah, I've read some of that research too, and that's kind of why I thought of it while reading it because I read some of that somewhat recently. Um, yeah, it's such a good example, and it makes me wonder whether that was intentional on J.K. Rowling's part, or if like that was a subconscious her picking on the male students and paying attention to them more. I mean, in the series, we don't really see the female students as
No, not a
much,
lot of them.
like Hermione and Ginny.
Hmm. And
Other than that, and
sometimes the Patel twins.
yeah, and then we start getting some Luna by the fifth book, but there there are female teachers, but there are not many female students Harry's age that are main characters at all,
No,
which
we
is
don't.
it's weird.
Yeah, we don't really even learn about Hermione's dorm mates very much in the
Yeah,
first book at all.
yeah, it's yeah. I mean, partly it's from Harry's perspective, and he's probably not paying attention. He pays more attention to who sleeps in the same room as him as who sleeps in the same room as Hermione. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, makes me really not like Snape. um, yeah, and it makes me want to do like a study on like collecting information from all the classroom scenes we have in the series and seeing how much attention boys are given versus girls, and what kinds of attention, and kind of like doing the same sort of research that's done in real classrooms and looking at like the fictional classrooms and seeing how it compares. Um, I also feel like it's just a really good way to like explain to somebody like what this actually, because you read a bunch of research and you're like, oh yeah, teachers pay more attention to boys. Okay, I don't really understand what that means. But then you're like, no, here it is.
Yeah.
Read Harry Potter. It's a different way of explaining the gender bias in education. Um,
Mhm. And yet, more female students go to college, and boys earn more failing grades and are more likely to be labeled as learning disabled. And I think it's sort of an interesting like conundrum.
yeah. Although I think in terms of learning disabilities, that's not necessarily a bad thing for boys.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, yes and no, just because like part of that is that girls not being good at something, they don't. No, they're just like they're not good at it. It's not like somebody goes, oh, well maybe there's something going on here. Let's look into this, and maybe it's some sort of learning disability, and let's create supports to address that. That's not the conversation that happens so much. And there are plenty of instances where somebody's diagnosed with a learning disability and they aren't given adequate support, so it's not helpful. But to not even have the discussion in the first place also isn't helpful. So yeah, it's education system. Um, and continuing in that scene, I guess. Snape.
Yeah. Pro Snape.
I I got really upset because sometimes I see people defending Snape as like, oh well, his tragic life. He went through a lot of and, whatever. He was a hero. He went through a lot. Um, and I'm like, you're missing the point though, because to
Like,
me, the treatment of the students is what makes me mad.
yeah, he is a terrible teacher and a really not good human being. And
Yeah,
like, yeah, I mean, terrible things happened to him, and he came sort of to the good side and, sacrificed his life and whatever for the cause, but he only did that because Lily's life was in danger.
yeah, and I think like I would allow the argument that um, his actions as like a spy against Voldemort might redeem him of some of the stuff he did for Voldemort previously, but
Yeah,
it doesn't at all redeem him of the way he treated students. Like that's
definitely
he
not.
never did anything to redeem himself of that.
No, and especially the way he treats Neville, it's just
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah, poor Neville. I yeah, uh, yeah. But it also makes me frustrated with the school as a whole because obviously it's not like it's a secret that Snape is mean because before they've even had their class, they all know that Snape, is not a teacher that they're gonna like. That he's whatever. There's already some sort of expectation there. So he's clearly been behaving this way for a long time,
Hmm.
enough that like he already has a rep with like Harry came from the Muggle world, so he didn't grow up. He did like he's not like Ron. His brothers were like, oh hey, by the way, watch out for this guy. No, it was
Yeah.
like, um, so the school hasn't done anything. Like
No.
Dumbledore hasn't done anything.
And I think it's a lot like that in the real world, too. Like Snape, I mean, he does teach them. They do learn, obviously. And in that respect, like, he is successful as a teacher. But, I mean, he's also terrible as a teacher. And, like, I feel like that happens with tenure and, like, having things based on standardized test results too. A lot of times it's hard to fire a teacher who is like on the books getting good results, but is not good in the classroom and to their students.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't really know, like within, like beyond Harry Potter, like what systematically you can do for that, other than like it's not okay to bully your students, and that just shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah,
Um,
and I feel like there's not a lot of repercussion necessarily for teachers.
yeah, yeah, I, yeah,
And for principals, there's not a lot of accountability for like bullying and things that go on with this within the school besides grades.
yeah. Schools generally aren't rated on um, the emotional well-being of their students.
No.
They're just rated on test scores. So, like Snape's classes, maybe his students would test well, um, but is their emotional well-being well? Or I wouldn't think so. I mean, I don't even think the Slytherins are developing like good emotional well-being with Snape.
No.
He's they're getting the Dudley syndrome.
They really are. Can that be a thing?
There's probably an official term for that, but I think it should be Dudley syndrome.
I agree.
It's not quite Draco syndrome because I think Draco had a lot more going on
Yeah.
besides just
Yeah.
getting praise for not being who their parents hate.
Yeah, I think Draco's a really interesting character.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of things to talk about with Draco, but maybe
yeah.
this isn't the appropriate time.
Next chapter, we've got some Draco coming up.
Yeah.
um, yeah, we can talk more about Draco there. Yeah, so it's just sort of a weird question of like, so obviously it would be nice if Dumbledore did something,
Hmm.
and he should have some sort of responsibility. But like, what I don't know,
What would it
what would
look like?
Dumbledore supposed to, yeah, like,
Yeah. And like there's ministers, right, of the school or something like that.
the governors?
Yeah, there's sort of like a school-ish board.
Yeah, Mr. Malfoy.
Yeah,
Do you think Mr. Malfoy cares that Neville's getting bullied?
decidedly not.
Yeah, so maybe the school needs better governors. Yeah, what role do the governors play in this? Um,
Yeah,
Because I would think it should be Dumbledore's responsibility, but because Dumbledore is failing at that, um, the governors should be able to intervene and say, "All right, Dumbledore, you have failed to ensure that your students' general well-being is protected because you're allowing one of your teachers to emotionally and verbally abuse students, 11-year-old kids." Um, who is on the board of governors for the governors? Um,
I don't know. I
Mr.
know
Malfoy and
like the head, but there's definitely people who are who get bullied by Malfoy. Because like I remember Dumbledore talking to Malfoy about some of the governors were under the impression that like, something bad would happen if
yeah,
signed for his immediate removal or something like that.
yeah. So the issue is like going well beyond this one classroom. It's like a whole system of corruption, and um,
It's like
yeah,
personal interest doesn't shouldn't have a place in schools, like in on school boards.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very relevant thing right now because at least, so I used to go to Douglas County High School, and our school board in 2010 was suddenly became all Republican, and it was largely backed, all of the candidates were backed by Jeb Bush, which is weird, a little Colorado school district getting money from Jeb Bush. Um, all of a sudden, the schools started losing funding, and classroom sizes went up, and we lost teachers. I think the governing body of the school has a lot of influence over how schools are able to operate.
Yeah. I have a local school board election coming up. I think next month. I need to check the dates on it, but
Make sure you vote.
I want to vote. There's three candidates, and only one of them issued a statement, and I know nothing about any of the candidates.
Ask your teachers. That's always a good thing.
Yeah, I might go down to the school and ask teachers. I don't know which teachers I want to talk to about it.
Yeah.
I know some teachers who were not so nice to their students, so they're not the ones I want to ask.
Yeah.
And those are the teachers that I'm more in contact, or have like easier contact with. They're so much easier to access. Oh, can you hear the background noise? There's
Nope.
TV on now. Okay, good. I didn't want to. Okay. Yeah. So school boards, those sorts of things. Oh, a person has to join. Where's the? Oh, you already accepted it, apparently, or someone did.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You're just on things. Yeah. So.
How do you think like Snape's treatment of Neville affects the other students too, and their attitudes towards him?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, it doesn't make any of the Gryffindors like Snape, and also the way it affects how people view Neville too.
Yeah, I think he makes Neville a target
Yeah, for
for
bullying.
at least for
Yeah,
Slytherins.
especially for Malfoy.
Hmm.
But even like the Gryffindors, to an extent,
Yeah, they're not very
they're not
nice.
always very nice to Neville.
No.
I mean, Harry, Ron, Hermione aren't too bad to Neville. Just because they mutually don't like Malfoy. That's mostly what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's a mutual dislike. Um, yeah. Poor Neville. Mostly is my feeling on this.
Yeah. A lot of
Um,
poor Neville, and in the next chapter too.
yeah. Yeah, poor Neville. Oh, yeah. Poor Neville a lot. Forgot about that. I think actually it probably does have a big influence on like Malfoy bullying Neville because Snape bullies Neville and Malfoy wants Snape's approval.
Hmm.
So I suspect if Snape had chosen a different student to start picking on, Malfoy would have started picking on them.
Yeah, he's basically condoning violence against, or not condoning, encouraging violence against Neville.
Yeah. Yeah, and so he's operating not just as a teacher, but also as their head of house too. So his influence is even more than if like it was like Flitwick that was bullying. Well, Flitwick's head of Ravenclaw, but Flitwick in the Gryffindor Slytherin lesson bullying someone. Because I think if McGonagall started bullying Malfoy specifically, the Gryffindors would probably be worse towards
Yeah.
Malfoy.
And see, I read let's see if I can find it, about how for girls are much more likely to look up to their teachers than boys.
Hmm.
So I wonder if, like, if McGonagall said it, would the Gryffindor girls be the ones who were primarily teasing Neville?
Oh yeah, that would. But McGonagall thankfully doesn't. McGonagall is just like always on Neville's side. I think
Yeah.
McGonagall and Snape are like two really good examples of like the extremes.
Yeah, I think
The
they're good
teachers.
foils.
Yeah, because they're both very strict teachers, but they're very strict in different ways. Because McGonagall is fair, and Snape is not. McGonagall is a good teacher who teaches her students well, and Snape teaches well, but he's a terrible teacher because he doesn't care about his students, most of them.
Yeah,
About 3/4 of his students he doesn't care about at all.
yeah,
Slytherins maybe a little bit, but I also suspect he doesn't even like many Slytherins.
yeah. I suspect he doesn't really like Malfoy that much. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I wonder how that is affected by, because obviously he knows Malfoy's parents and like Crabbe and Goyle's parents
Hmm.
um, from being Death Eaters with them.
Yeah,
And I wonder if some of the hate he gives towards Neville has to do with Neville's parents. Um, I mean, Snape's awful to Harry because of his dad, so
yeah. I've seen a lot of speculation that he's awful to Neville because uh, Neville could have been Harry and then Lily would have lived.
yeah.
But I don't know how much that.
I mean, Frank and Alice were on the opposite side of the war
Yeah,
as Snape too, so there was plenty there anyway.
yeah. I think there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, that's oversimplifying Snape. I mean, because Snape doesn't like the Weasleys at all either,
No.
and I have a feeling that's probably partly because of the war too. Because
Hmm.
obviously the Weasleys, they weren't at the same age, but they were involved in the war.
They were too young to be involved, weren't they?
The
Uh,
adults, they were older, weren't they?
I thought in like the I don't this book when they're talking about the picture, he says something about the Weasleys being too young
I'm
to.
pretty sure they would have been too old because Harry's parents were 21 when they died,
Yeah,
and
that's
the
true.
oldest Weasley is a lot older.
That's true.
So if
Yeah.
they were younger than
Yeah.
daughters,
Yeah. Good thinking. Right.
they're significantly older than the
Unless
Potters.
Mrs. Weasley had Bill when she was like 7.
Yeah, just no,
Nope.
no, they're older, I think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I think the order was mainly made up of people in their 20s because it's
Yeah.
young people doing the fighting, but I think the Weasleys were involved in some ways. I feel like they were. I don't really remember,
Yeah. I don't.
except that I would suspect so because
I would hope so.
I mean, if Arthur works for the Department of Misuse of Muggle Artifacts and he's really interested in Muggles, I don't think he would have been on the other side of the war for sure,
No, I'm
and
pretty sure not.
I don't think he would have accepted the war either.
No.
Um, yeah. But anyway, that's not really this chapter, and I know we'll have chapters that are much more involved in all that, and
Yeah.
because I was about to go off on to a World War II tangent, but we don't need that.
Yeah. Let's not do that just yet.
No. Um, let's wait a couple books.
Yeah. It's like a year away.
Yeah. um, yeah, so Snape. Oh, and also in this chapter is, well, actually still in Snape, though, before leaving Snape. Um, when I was reading the description of Snape, when it mentioned his eye color as, like, cold and dark and, like, tunnels,
Yeah.
I was really upset because I read that and immediately was like, wait, when have blue eyes ever been described as, like,
Yeah. When has there ever been a bad guy with blue eyes or green eyes? Light colored
yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, and also I was looking at information on eye color, and people don't have black eyes for the most part. Like it's a
Yeah,
not
I
very
saw.
common eye color, and people who do have black eyes are usually not white people.
Hmm.
So it's just sort of weird.
Yeah. And I guess I don't know if you read the same thing I did, but it said like literally like black eyes can be associated with deep sorrow and regret.
Yeah. Oh, on all the tropes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I linked that in the
Okay. Yeah.
doc to all the eye color things, not just one specific eye color, but and I guess in there they did mention some sort of like using blue eyes sometimes happens in literature for not so great characters, but it's usually done in a way that is like jarring in some way,
Yeah.
like a visual jarring thing, not in a. So it's not just like somebody just casually like naturally has blue eyes. It's just totally normal, and also by the way they're evil.
Yeah.
um, yeah, that kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
As far as yeah tropes,
Hmm.
um, it would be nice to see that trend kind of change, not just be, I don't know, more balanced out. But then
Yeah.
again, Hagrid is also described as having black eyes, but they're
That's true.
like beetles. Um, so it's interesting that she didn't just go with black eyes are evil, but
Yeah.
oh well.
Only red eyes are evil.
I'd like to have a story where the hero has red eyes, and it's just like a, you know, genetic whatever. Has nothing to do with whether they're evil or not.
Yeah. Hero with albinism.
Yeah. I'll start writing the story right now.
Okay, good.
Right after this, actually.
Yeah.
Um, I guess the only other thing I had on this chapter was about Hagrid inviting Harry over for tea, which is the most adorable thing.
Yes.
Just to
Well,
be clear, that's the technical term for it.
yeah. Basically everything Hagrid does is the most adorable thing ever.
Yeah, Hagrid is quite great.
It's just wonderful.
Trying to find my notes. Am
And
I in the
also
right
that
chapter?
Harry took Ron with him, I thought was
Yeah,
very sweet.
yeah, that was cool. And one of the things I actually liked about these chapters is that like it's just Harry and Ron,
Yeah.
and we get some time to like Ron, unlike the movies where why would anybody like Ron?
Yeah. It makes me so sad because Ron is such an amazing, wonderful character.
Yeah,
And Hermione is a great character too, and all the better for her flaws.
yeah, I like her better in the books than the movies.
Yeah, me too.
She happens to actually be human
Yeah.
in the books.
Like human Hermione?
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, Hagrid was really, really sweet, and it also just made me think about um, like the other adults that don't seem to be noticing that, hey, Harry has had kids following him around everywhere, whispering about him. Maybe
Maybe
he
we
would
should
like
see if he's
somebody
okay.
to treat him like a normal kid, let him make sure he's all right.
Yeah.
Um,
It's weird to me that, like, it seems like they aren't checking up on any of them.
no,
These kids are away from home for probably the first time, and in this crazy environment, even the ones who are wizard, pureborn, pureblood. I mean, this is a very, very different environment for them. They've
yeah,
probably never been to Muggle school, the purebloods.
Yeah. I wonder if in boarding schools in the UK, that's if they're checked in on,
Yeah,
is it Hogwarts a realistic portrayal of boarding schools? I mean, minus the magic and the moving
yeah,
staircases. Although I do feel like probably there's like just things that we just aren't in the books because they're not really relevant to the plot.
yeah.
Where probably they have like first years meeting in the common room or something
I would hope so.
like so each house is a head of house, um, and there's not much explanation for what that job entails, and there's very little that happens there. But I have a feeling that their heads of houses are more involved in their lives
Yeah,
outside the classroom. Just we don't see it very much.
yeah. Sucks for you if you're a Slytherin. You do not want Snape all up in your business.
No, no, no.
Yeah,
um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe McGonagall is checking in on Harry too, but
yeah.
checking in all the students. But I think there should also be some sort of like Muggle-born check-in program too for, gee, you're adjusting to entirely new culture. Um,
How's that
let's,
going for you?
yeah, not just like you went to the school and good luck. And by the way, your parents probably don't know how to contact you because we use owls and
Yeah, I've always wondered about that.
their houses aren't connected to the flu network. Uh, yeah. Is there like orientation ever? There's no orientation for any student either. It's just like, here's your class schedule. Good luck.
Here, we're gonna throw you in a boat in the lake, and then you're gonna take this terrifying test in front of all the students where we read your mind. Oh, next morning it's raining owls. Here's your schedules. Good luck, kids.
Yeah, there's like no support given for the new students. Nobody's
No.
even showing them how to get around the castle.
Yeah,
I mean, their first night, the prefects lead them to their dormitory or their head boy and
yeah.
girl. I don't remember. But they like do they can't take them to their classes. They have classes.
Yeah.
So
And the only time we ever see teachers escort students, like anyone escort students between classes, is like when bad things are happening.
yeah, like in the next book, which is
Yes.
like next month even. I'm gonna be done with this book at some point eventually.
What?
It's been months since I first was like, hey, let's do this thing. And yeah, it'll finally happen. Um, yeah. Did you have anything else on this chapter?
I think we're ready to move on to the next chapter.
Okay. So, the Midnight Duel, in which Malfoy is a jerk.
In which Malfoy's a super jerk.
I guess super
And
jerk. He's always a jerk.
Harry and Ron are a little gullible.
Yeah. Also, in which Harry just magically knows how to fly a broom perfectly and not break his neck on the. I mean, that was you know, it's a little bit unrealistic for me. Not the flying on the broom, but the flying it well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure no kid just gets on their bike and dribbles
Okay,
off
you've got
perfectly.
natural genetics. You've been raised by muggles. You have no idea what's going on. You just get on a broom and almost break your neck, but not at all. I think that's a little bit unrealistic.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
Let's see. We have Ron and Hermione, films versus books.
Yeah. I have that, and I have bullying.
That's very good things to talk about.
Yeah, there's actually a lot to talk about here. That's not like direct exact on the books, but they're bigger things to kind of talk about. You can there's a good jumping off points at least. Um, yeah. I do like the one bit of Muggle culture at Hogwarts, which is the soccer poster in
Yes.
Thomas's. This is the one instance we get of a Muggle-born student
Yeah.
holding on to any aspect of their culture prior to Hogwarts.
And of course, it's football.
I mean, of course. Ron couldn't see what was exciting about a game with only one ball where no one was allowed to fly. Harry had caught Ron prodding Dean's poster of West Ham, trying to make the players move.
Ron is just the best.
It's just like...
Broken.
I'm really disappointed that wasn't in the films.
Yeah.
That would have been such a great... Just to show more of the intercultural interactions.
Yeah. And I love that, like, his dad's obsessed with Muggle stuff. And Ron doesn't know that Muggle posters don't fly.
Oh, Ron. Oh, Ickle Ronnikins.
Oh, Ickle Ronnie.
Where are the Weasley twins? I need some Weasley twins in here.
Yeah, they're
not really in this book much.
There's the Christmas morning. That's about it.
Yeah, they're not really in it. Harry's absorbed in his world right now.
Mm-hmm. Which is okay. I would be too, I think.
But yeah, I guess we can talk about Ron. Let's talk about Ron and Hermione.
Let's do.
Book Ron is so great.
He is, and he's so sweet.
He's a really good character, and the movies make Ron really mean.
Yeah.
Like, he never does anything
nice to his friends.
Nice or kind. It's like, why are they friends with Ron? I don't understand. Like, you watch the movie and there's like, are they friends with him because sometimes he says something funny?
Yeah. Like, no, that's not how it is. Ron is, like, so genuine.
Yeah. In the movies, he's mean and kind of a bully to his friends. In the books, he's like sticking up for them and going like, "Excuse me, can't do that.
Yeah.
Don't mess with my friends." I think one of the things the movie loses is that I've been thinking about this recently, how Ron and Hermione basically have reversed gender roles in their relation to Harry, because Ron provides a lot of the like emotional support and insight and like understanding people and how they work, and understanding the wizarding world in general, and just kind of like he gets things on like a intuitive gut level, more emotional level, whereas Hermione is, especially in the first book, is very logical and very much like, well, there's rules and we have to follow rules, and she just doesn't people well.
No, she doesn't people
She's
well.
not good at peopling.
And it takes her a long time to learn how to people.
Yeah. I think one of the nice things about like her and Ron's relationship in the books that like makes you root for them is that like they complement each other so well in that way. You know, she learns to people better because she's got Ron around, and Ron learns to succeed better in life because he's got Hermione around to push him and do his homework for him.
Yeah, I like that. I love that. Like, they don't have to be like this ideal like man, whatever they're allowed.
Yeah.
They express emotions and they get upset, and they don't have to prove how manly they are, and it's never boys will be boys.
Yeah. The most feminist aspect of Harry Potter, probably.
Yeah.
To not having males who are just No feelings.
I don't feel like there's really. I mean, Cormac McLagan is like totally a meninist,
He's the jock.
but I don't feel like there's necessarily other characters that.
I think Cedric, to an
Oh yeah,
extent, isn't a. He's not like a men's right activist. He's just he fits well into
into that gender stereotype.
gender stereotype. Yeah, and that's fine that he
Yeah,
does, and it's not
and
a
Crumb
problem.
too.
Yeah, although I was, Crumb really likes Hermione.
He does,
Like
like,
he
really likes her.
really likes her, and people make fun of him. And Crumb is great.
He really is. He's kind of adorable.
He's great because he's like Malfoy in that he's been raised in ways that should lead him towards associating with the dark arts, and he does the complete opposite.
Yeah,
Also, like Snape, like people want to say that Snape's a hero, but like Crumb was also raised in a situation where he could very easily have chosen the dark arts, and instead of choosing that, he's like worked really hard to not choose that and be good, um, and also like Harry in that he has like a lot of fame for not very great reasons. Um, he
and
has
that he
fame
doesn't.
because he can fly in a broomstick, and he just does not. He's not interested in having that fame.
No.
For that, he just wants to be a person and do good.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's some good male characters in Harry Potter in terms of like setting a better, healthier example of what it means to be a man.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I feel like the points where Harry is not doing well, or when Harry's like trying to be Mr. Tough Guy, like
Yeah,
like I think the sixth book is a really good example of when he fights Malfoy and he almost kills him, where his, I'm gonna be tough and ruthless. It just not. It's like it was the worst thing Harry did. It's a
yeah,
terrible choice. Um, yeah, I think Harry Potter's feminism is probably more in the way it portrays male characters more than anything.
yeah, I agree.
It focuses a lot on male characters, so I think it's harder for it to be great on women. I mean, Hermione too, but
Hmm. I think
uh,
as far as women goes, it's more about like a mother's love.
yeah,
The central female thing, I feel like.
which isn't a very radical
No,
um, idea.
it's a nice idea,
It's a
but it's
nice
not
idea,
very
yeah.
radical.
Yeah. I mean, there's Harry's mother, Mrs. Weasley, and Mrs.
Narcissus.
Malfoy. Yeah, who
Yeah.
all, in different instances, mother's love becomes very important too. Good triumphing over evil. Yeah, yeah. So we didn't really talk about Ron.
It's okay.
We said let's talk about Ron, which is fine. Yeah. Uh,
Do we want to talk about Malfoy's bullying Neville?
yeah. Oh, so. Mm,
I feel like it's a pretty realistic representation, and if anything, it's kind of tame.
yeah. That's exactly my response to the first question in my. Yeah. The question, by the way, for people who are not staring at my notes, is do you think this is a realistic portrayal of the bullying 11-year-olds do and face? Yeah. I think it's. Yeah. I think whatever I think of the bullying that 11-year-olds face, it's worse than what I think because
Yeah.
I'm distant from it. I have my memories of experiencing it, and I think the farther I get away from it, the less importance I feel towards it.
Hmm.
Like the more I get over it. So it's like I want to have an 11-year-old talk about it and be like, well, this is what I experienced, because looking back on what you've experienced, it's easier to like be like, well, that was awful, but I survived it, and now I'm
Yeah.
here. But it's not good.
And I
Yeah,
think it's amazing how much of that bullying kids learn from their parents.
yeah. Or in Malfoy's case, from his professor watching Snape.
Yeah,
I think in a lot of ways the teachers here act as parents for the students.
yeah. Like especially when I think about them like, bullying Hermione because of she's Muggle born. Like they're not going to get that on their own.
Yeah.
That absolutely comes from their parents.
Yeah, that's just like nobody is born thinking racist things. They're not like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm better than that person because race.
Yeah.
You learn that from your parents and from the society you live in. Um, yeah,
And I think it's a hard thing for society to address that, especially parents, to real be like, I'm somehow complicit in my child hurting another child.
yeah,
And as a society, I don't know what to do with that.
yeah. It's a really difficult problem to solve because schools implement anti-bullying measures sometimes, but it isn't just something that starts in the school. It starts, you know, it's all over society. And it's not something that ends with school. You get out, you grow up, and you go into the workplace, and people still bully each other.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's all over the media.
Hmm. Which is terrible.
Yeah, and there's this weird thing where on one hand there's just bullying, and then there's bullying that is filled with lots of different prejudices, and so the way you address each of those is maybe a little bit different.
Hmm.
I mean, I think there's underlying prejudices to all of the bullying. Um, but Neville isn't bullied because he's a Muggle-born, which is
No.
one of the major prejudices in the Wizarding world. Neville is just bullied because he's easy.
Yeah,
He seems vulnerable, um,
he's
and
very different than everyone else.
part of that is probably because he's been bullied by his family his whole life.
Yeah.
Um, they threw him out of a window or something.
Yeah, his uncle.
Yeah, like so he's already quite vulnerable. He doesn't feel sure of himself, so it's and kids can tell. They go, hey, that kid's down. I'll kick him while he's down.
Yeah,
Um, I don't really know how you address that.
yeah. Um, and I don't know, is it always appropriate for an adult to step in? Are there times when it needs to be worked out by the kids?
I think I'm not sure about individual incidents, but I think it's always something that adults have some influence over
I
and should
agree.
be exerting influence over. Um, yeah, because it's difficult because sometimes if you're just stepping in, what happens is that the kids just do it when you're not there.
And
Um,
they do it worse because you're a snitch?
yeah, so there's part of it is the examples adults set for kids. 'Cause kids are just following the examples adults set for the most part.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know how you deal with bullying. It's such a huge problem, and it's so hard to deal with, especially right now as cyberbullying has become such a big issue. Um,
Yeah.
And cyberbullying, like people of all ages can get cyberbullied.
Hmm.
I've had friends who have been like gotten anonymous people on Tumblr telling them to kill themselves, and I'm like, I like I don't even know what you're supposed to do about that to address that.
Yeah. Now, what makes a person decide to do that to somebody?
I have no idea. I mean, the person not feeling very good about their own self, probably.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think Malfoy bullies Neville because Malfoy feels very, secure in his identity and where he is in society. No, Malfoy is like very insecure.
Very, very insecure. I feel like he feels his need to flaunt his wealth, like to make himself more secure.
And I think maybe he's also trying to flaunt that he has a father who cares about him because maybe he doesn't always feel like his dad cares about him. I
Yeah.
feel like he's doing a lot to try to prove himself to his dad, like throughout the series. So some of his, I'm gonna go tell my father about this. My father's gonna hear about this. Is him saying, "My father cares a lot about me, and he's gonna get involved."
Yeah. When at home, that's probably not the case.
Yeah, bullying's such a, I don't know, complicated, hard thing
Yeah.
that I don't even know. I
Yeah. In
mean,
a lot of ways, I think Malfoy is more damaged by his poor relationship and upbringing than Harry is.
yeah. I mean, I think the difference is that Harry has a sense that he is valued,
Yeah.
like sincerely. Um, like he apparently has some memory of his just with his parents, and like that's his Patronus or whatever. And um, but I think it's just coming from some place of security
Hmm.
that he has that Malfoy doesn't. And I don't think that's something that people often have in general. Um, I don't know. I mean, I'll just talk so that it's not. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I was thinking about like Ron and Hermione, who I would think have pretty much been given a lot of love from their parents, although Ron doesn't feel secure in it. I don't know how Hermione feels about her parents.
Yeah. Never really get that sense. I mean, she's willing to um, give up a lot of time with them for her friends. And maybe that's because their relationship is extremely secure.
Yeah, I don't know. We really don't get much of Hermione's relationship with their parents. It's really underdeveloped. What about Hermione's mother's love for her? Could
Yeah,
that been an
we
important
get a
plot
lot
point?
of Hermione's love for her parents in the seventh book, but
Yeah, and I wonder how much of that is because of Harry's perspective. Um, the books just being from it and Harry just not caring. Great job, Harry.
yeah.
You're a good friend.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that like Ron's very insecure about himself, but he never resorts to bullying like Malfoy.
Mm-hmm. I think his way of dealing with it is just. Um, I mean, I feel like Ron bullies himself more than anything.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think
He's his
and
own worst
especially when he
enemy.
gets, like fourth book and seventh book, where he has fights with Harry.
Hmm.
I think that's more out of his own insecurity and not really liking his own self very much. That a lot of
Yeah,
that comes from
I
more
agree.
than it does his feelings towards Harry.
Yeah,
He just uses Harry as a thing to like put that on.
yeah.
Um, yeah. I think Neville does it even more, though. Neville's insecurity just becomes him bullying himself.
Yeah. And it's very painful to watch.
Yeah.
Just want to pull him out of the book and give him a hug.
Excuse me, Neville. I know you're in Scotland right now, but I'm going to pull you out of the book through these pages, and I'm going to give you a hug, and then you're going to go back in there, and you're going to be awesome. I believe in you, Neville.
That's right. It'd be nice if you could do that.
Yeah, that'd be like, you know, they should make some sort of like interactive post-book technology in the world beyond books, where you can actually enter into the story and hug the character.
I agree.
You don't get to become a main part of the plot.
No.
That's too much. But you can hug a character if you need to hug. You know, you
Definitely.
can occasionally drop in with like a word of wisdom or, yeah. That would be. I really like interactive media, actually.
Pretty cool.
I've been thinking about it for like years, doing some sort of interactive media thing. It's very hard to do, though. It takes a lot more work. Yeah. So that is Harry Potter.
That is Harry Potter.
Up next, what do we have? We have Halloween and Quidditch.
Oh.
Okay.
Good ones.
These are good. We have good chapters coming up.
Yes.
Oh, and then it starts getting. The week after that, we have Mirror of Erised and Nicholas Flamel. Then we get to plot. Okay, this is.
We're getting into it now.
I think we're halfway.
I think you're right. There's like 17 chapters, yeah?
Yeah, we're halfway. I mean, okay, Halloween on my book is on page 163, and there are 309 pages. So we are more than halfway by page count. But I don't know if it starts on page 1. It does. We're more than halfway by page count.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We've done, I think it is 17. Yeah, 9 out of 17 chapters. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun reading Harry Potter. Yeah. Okay, so it's about 0 o'clock, so I'm going to end the broadcast.
Okay.
Bye, broadcast.
Bye.